Mr. Gavaskar, to you first, sir. Now, they might have been whitewashed in the tests, but you would say that the Kiwis will be more competitive in the ODIs?
Yes, it certainly will be. They are a very, very good one-day team. They've been the runners-up in the World Cup, which was played just about a year ago. So they are certainly a very, very competitive team compared to what we saw in Test cricket. I think Brendan McCullum has left them a terrific legacy, and I think they're living up to being one of the most attractive one-day teams in the world. And if I might add, I believe that the England team's revival in one-day cricket started because immediately after the World Cup, it was New Zealand who was touring England, and New Zealand played the brand of cricket that England have started to emulate. And look at the fantastic results England are showing in the indoors cricket. So this is a team that is going to give India a much, much harder time than they did in Test cricket.
Right, that's a very interesting point that you make there, Mr. Gavaskar, how the English team has changed because of the challenge thrown at them by the Kiwis. Atul, let's take the same question to you. Do you expect the Kiwis to hit back hard in the ODI series? They are, after all, ranked higher than India in the rankings.
Yeah, but I think that rankings are relative to where you are playing your cricket. If it was New Zealand we were playing in, then of course I would have rated the chances. But looking at the way they threw in the towel in the Test series, I can't see them bouncing back. So one thing is for sure, we will win the series. What will be the margin? That'll be pretty clear. I can maybe expect one brilliant display from Kane Williamson or Ross Taylor or one of the guys like Guptill to raise his hand. But I can't see it happening that they will give a fight to India, especially in these conditions, because all over India the conditions are still hot and humid, which suits the Indian players and Indian format of cricket.
Right, Atul, it's interesting that you're mentioning specific Kiwi players. In that context, how big a boost do you think is it going to be for the visitors to have the likes of Corey Anderson and Tim Southee, both of whom have played a fair bit of IPL cricket, joining the Kiwi squad now for the ODIs?
Yeah, I think IPL experience will help these players, and but you got to remember, these guys are just preparing for the start of the season on different kind of pitches, and when the ball starts keeping low, and then the ball turns, then their talent is marginalized to a little extent. So I don't think so that they will be a big threat, but there's always a chance of one guy on a given day taking the game away from you. If you see man to man, I can't see them in the same ballpark as Indians.
All right, let's talk about the Indian camp in further detail now. Mr. Gavaskar, to you, sir. India, of course, will be high on confidence after the thumping win, really, in the Test series. But how difficult do you think it is going to be for someone like MS Dhoni to switch on and off? Now, India has a long Test season in which he will not feature, of course, but he has to suddenly be ready to play the shorter formats. How challenging do you think that is for someone like Dhoni?
It is extremely challenging. It's extremely challenging for any player. In any sport. Once he gets past the mid-30s, then if you have a gap in international competition, then it becomes that much more difficult to keep up with the progress that the game has undergone in those 2-3 months that you've been away. Look at beyond ball, John McEnroe. You look at everybody who's taken a little bit of a breather, they think, and then they can come back. Tiger Woods, for example, in golf. It's very, very difficult to make a comeback in international sport because the sport progresses while you might be there. So even if your mind is willing, sometimes the body is not able to make that, to catch up with that little gap that is there. I'm hoping that Mahendra Singh Dhoni will be able to do so because he's been an extremely fit individual. And if he can do so, then it will be fantastic for India too.
Well, it will be very interesting really to watch how Dhoni performs both as a skipper and as a batsman and keeper. Mr. Gavaskar, who will the key players for India be according to you in this series?
Well, I think Virat, because of the kind of form that he's going to be a key player for India. And I think the bowling unit, as a whole, we've had some issues in the past with the bowlers not quite learning the length to bowl, still bowling the good length deliveries which are clobbered over the boundary. So I think they've got to, if the bowling unit can get its act together, then I think it will be a terrific team, because as far as the batting is concerned, I think the Indian batting team is a very, very fine batting unit.
All right, so Virat, according to Mr. Gavaskar, will be perhaps the key batsman for Team India in this series. Also, sir, with some key openers injured now for India, do you think there is once again that opening conundrum for Team India? Who should open with Rohit Sharma, according to you?
Well, it's a good question. I think I would look at maybe Ajinkya Rahane opening the batting, because that'll open up the middle order for the others to come through. Virat has opened in T20 cricket, but I would still maybe I'd like to see him bat at number 3. But I'd look at Ajinkya Rahane's recent form, where he's just got a big 188 in a test match which finished about a few days ago. I'd look to promote him up the order as well, because he does open the batting in T20 cricket for his franchise.
Right, so interesting. Mr. Gavaskar feels that perhaps Rahane can be pushed up the order to open if needed with Rohit Sharma. Atul, let's take that question to you. Who should open for India? Rohit, and who else? Do you see perhaps Rahane being pushed up the order?
I think Rahane is a very good choice. He's always done well whenever he has been given a chance. In IPL also he's opened and he's done very well. He's the kind of player who adapts himself to all conditions. It's a pity KL Rahul is not fit, and I was hoping that he would be fit, because the way he batted in Zimbabwe, I saw him, and the way he has come to the party in all formats of the game. He's changed his game for the shorter format. When he first started playing Test cricket, I thought probably this is the kind of guy who will be like Cheteshwar Pujara, who finds it difficult to change gears. But over the last 6 months, I've seen he has taken massive strides. So that'll be a pity missing out on KL Rahul with Rohit Sharma. But Rahane is a good choice.
All right, let's talk about some other Indian players who are missing. Mr. Gavaskar, considering the long test season that India has, the decision to rest the likes of Ashwin and Jadeja seems like a good one. But will they be missed, or does India have enough firepower, you think, in the spin department to handle the Kiwis?
Oh, they certainly will be missed, because they took the bulk of the wickets, the bulk of the 60 wickets that fell in the 3 test matches. They were the ones who took it. So they certainly will be missed when they play the limited overs cricket. But of course, it's a different ball. It's a white ball, and they may not have been as effective with the white ball as they have been with the red ball. The spinners that are taking their place, they'll have a hard act to follow. But Indian spinners have been generally good on Indian pitches and Indian surfaces. So I'm hoping that the lot that replaces these two will also stand up in the counting.
Right. Atul, what's your take on this? Considering India have rested Jadeja and there's no Suresh Raina, remember, for the first ODI. Does that spinning all-rounder department then look somewhat empty to you, or can someone like, say, Akshar Patel perhaps fit into that role?
I think Akshar will get another opportunity, and rightly so, because this guy made his mark, came in the Indian team, pushed out Ravindra Jadeja, and now Jadeja made a strong comeback. And I think if you ask Ravindra Jadeja, probably he didn't want to rest. But looking at the long test season ahead, India has done right. The selectors have taken a right decision to rest Mohammad Shami, for instance. He's the kind of bowler who needs to recuperate, and he's our long-term test bowler. And I think Ravindra Jadeja, because of the load he will be taking along with Ashwin in the test series, because he'll be bowling a lot, and his kind of tight bowling helps Ashwin pick up wickets from the other end. So I think Indian selectors are treating these players in cotton wool, which is rightly so. But Akshar Patel is somebody who should be given a lengthish go, because once you pick a player, give him enough chances to either become really successful or fail. You can't just pick players and then decide, okay, no, he's not good enough, and then drop them again. And that's something that's happened with Pandya also.
All right, just enough time now, gentlemen, for final 2 questions. The same one to both of you, really, and this really is the toughest of them all. Mr. Gavaskar, to you first, sir, your prediction for a series scoreline.
My prediction for the series, 5-match series, that India will win 3-2. All
right, 3-2 then, says Mr. Gavaskar. Atul, your prediction?
Well, I think India needs to win the series 4-1 to go up the rankings in one-day cricket also, and I think that's going to be the final score line.